Hi everybody, Steve Griffiths here, the developer of the MTPredictor software program. In today's video I'd like to look at how the USE minis unfolded yesterday, which was Friday, February the 21st. Wanted to have a look at this because it's a, a great example of following up from my last recording on how to use the higher time frame for the larger degree trend. So I just want to have a look at this. Let's start off by looking at the ES. I'll just bring our STF up here, make that a bit bigger so you can see it. Here our STF color is blue. If I just put the session breaks on, you can see where yesterday started. So 21st started there. So the setup I always like to look at on the ES is this one here. You can see it's against the blue STF, therefore for the newer MTPredictor traders the larger degree trend is up. However, if we go to the 15-minute chart, what we tend to do here, as I looked at in my last recording, was we go back to the prior pivots. So even before yesterday started, we'd go back to a prior pivot high, which was here, as this is the last swing into the low. This high here, right mouse click, select decision point, and the important point is that this level would have been on the chart before the market even got there. That's important to understand. These are leading, these are here ready for the market to get there, and as you can see the market went up and that actually caught the very high of the day. So the question we ask now is if this 3-minute chart here, you see I've just changed down to the 3-minute chart, so if this 3-minute chart at this DP cell here is now in larger degree or 15-minute resistance, is this DP cell a good one to take? Well, yes it is for the more experienced MTPredictor customers among you. It's okay to take because it's at higher time frame or larger degree resistance. So what we can do now is we can right mouse click here and place the analysis on. That would allow a short trade there into our first target, which would have been hit down at this level here for a nice 2.9 hour profit. Remember, we use correct position sizing to vary the number of lots, contracts or shares to keep our initial risks small and under control. But the beauty of this is this allowed you to basically sell or have a setup here that actually caught the very high of the day. In other words, this DP sell was on the bar of the very high of the day. So what a great situation to be in where you're selling the high of the day for a lovely short trade. That was on the ES, and it was all brought about because the larger degree resistance zone was on the chart in advance, preparing you to look for shorter term sell setups at that level. On the 15-minute YM, I'll just put the session breaks on again. I'll show you how I did this. Before the market even got up to this level, we'd gone back to our prior pivot here, placed the DP on, and there the market went up into that level, and in fact actually gave us an automatic DP sell on the 15-minute chart. But the point being is that also gave us 15-minute resistance. The NQ was not quite so clear because here was our DP here, and we'd gone through the DP there. The next level would have been the DP from that high there, and you see we're in between levels. The only thing that the YM did was actually made a double top. So if I put a high tag on that level, you can see a double top. So what I was looking at on the NQ was because the 15-minute, I'll just take this back to the 15-minute chart. There's our 15-minute chart. Because the 15-minute ES, which is what we call the boss because that's the one that tends to move the other markets, because the 15-minute ES was at 15-minute resistance, the YM was at the same, and also because the NQ, just take those off, was at a double top, we actually were thinking that this was going to decline as well. So when you come down to the 3-minute chart, there was a very interesting setup here a bit later where there was the high, here was the initial decline down, here was the initial rally up. The initial rally up unfolded as an ABC. We'll see this when I place the analysis on the setup. There's our ABC into our TS1 sell. So the advanced traders among you could have taken this sell setup again, even though it's against the blue STF. But because we had larger degree or important high here at larger degree resistance, in Elliott wave terms, this would be the initial decline or wave 1. This would be the initial correction or a wave 2. Therefore, rather than going down to the first target, we'd actually be anticipating a decline down into the typical wave 3 WPT, because after a wave 2 we're anticipating a wave 3 kind of swing. So therefore, rather than looking to come out at the first target, we'd want to hold this trade down into the typical wave 3 WPT, which, as you can see, would have actually produced a very nice 6.5R profit. This is what we call our Holy Grail trade setup, not because it has a high probability of winning, but because when it does, the profits are much larger than the losses or initial risks. Again, correct position sizing here kept the initial risk small under control, and a profit at approximately 6.5 or 6.5 times the initial risk would have been a very good trade setup indeed. And this was all came about because we knew that the 15-minute ES was at DP resistance, we knew that the 15-minute YM was at DP resistance, and then also we're at a double top on the 15-minute NQ. So all three markets were giving us a reason to anticipate the large degree trend was down. Therefore, a lovely trade there. Just for standard traders, there was a couple of trade setups here later in the day. There was one here, which was a perfectly valid standard trade setup that actually would have produced a losing trade, and there was a -1R loss. Remember, all trading approaches or systems will have losing trades, but the trick is keeping the loss small. That's what we do with our correct position sizing. This next one here would have been interesting, because I think if we go down to a 1-minute chart, you'll see that the market opened, it then rallied up, in other words this second trade setup before declining down and taking you in. So I don't think this second one would have actually been a executable trade. So you'd have set up another trade here off this TS2 cell. This one worked out as anticipated, and here we can see how position sizing really helped, because this profit would have been plus 2.9R or 2.9 times initial risk. Remember, our previous loss here would have been -1 or 1 risk unit. So actually on the NQ it would have been a very good day here, where we'd have had a nice profitable trade into the that decline down there into the low. We'd have had a losing trade beforehand, then we would have had a lovely Holy Grail set up into this typical wave 3 WPT low here. For you guys who are a bit more advanced, will also notice that the decline down here off this TS1 cell actually unfolded as a beautiful, for your Elliott wave, a beautiful 5-wave sequence, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, with the low stopping right at the typical wave 5 WPT. So if this had unfolded earlier in the day, there would have been a tradable opportunity off that low, but obviously we're getting near the close there, therefore you wouldn't have taken it. But for me, the best trade of the day was this Holy Grail trade setup, because the profit was much larger than the initial risk compared to the initial risk, and this is why I like these Holy Grail trade setups so much. Again, it was all set up because of the 15-minute analysis and us allowing to, or us knowing that these resistance areas were on the chart in advance, so it was preparing us, getting us ready for a potential high setup. So even if you'd missed this TS1 cell here on the NQ, you should have actually caught this DP sell here on the 3-minute ES, which again, from a day trader's standpoint, would have been a very nice trade, because looking to sell the high of the day is always a good position to be in as a day trader. So hopefully that's shown you some of the trade setups that unfolded using the MTPredictor software program on the USE minis for yesterday, which was Friday the 21st of February. So all in all, a good day for the MTPredictor software program and MTPredictor users.